Good evening. Welcome to our live Facebook. I hope you can hear me, and be great to see some of you, our regular members as well. Some of you who are new. I would like to welcome you to our Wednesday live Facebook. And tonight's topic is more of a little bit to touch on this so-called Chinese New Year rally, which we have. Of course, it did not go as big bang as many people may expect. As we know, this week, just another 2 more days before, or 3 more days before Chinese New Year. So I'd like to wish our members as well, those of you from our public, a happy Chinese New Year, 恭喜发财 ahead of time. But do take note, this coming Friday, I'll be taking off, and also next Monday. But I'll be back on Tuesday for our monthly orientation for our members. So welcome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our live Facebook Wednesday night talk at 9:30. We are here. And for those of you who are with us, glad you can make it, and we'll still be to continue with the KLSE rally continues, which we see here. But tonight we'll be focusing on the value share. Where are they going to be? Is it going to be in some stocks that we talk about? And of course, those of you who are our members, our VSA 360 members, I think you're in for the treat, as we will review some of these value stock which we are given to you every Friday through our weekly podcast. So stay tuned, more on that one. So tonight's agenda is sharing is where are the value shares. So what is undervalued stocks mean, okay? And what makes a stock undervalued? And that's why we are looking into it a little easier way. We will also going to share with you some stocks that you can find it yourself by using the mobile phone. That's all you need to know. And one way, if especially those of you who have our VSA 360 as well, those of you who have our SmartRobie, there is a feature which I'll share with you how you can find these shares that is value. And of course, not everybody would like undervalued shares, because sometimes they say that they move too slowly. So we will also be talking about growth share, but more importantly is finding those growth undervalued shares where there is a potential growth in it. Now, the potential value of growth, so far what we have seen has been limited more in terms of couple of segments. That's it. Usually what is growing, you won't get it cheap. Am I correct or not? So we will be looking at some of this theory behind it and philosophy behind it. And what are these value stocks? As I said before, if you are our VSA 360 members, and then you're in for a treat, as some of these stocks that we talk about every Wednesday night is included in this list. And we also do a summary. Now, this person, when it comes to value stock, we have to bring in this gentleman in here, Mr. Warren Buffett, which have inspired, including myself, but some of his philosophy is still well used, and I think that those of you who have used it will find also very, very interesting. Now, for those of you who is listening, our members, do say hi. I'd like to know whether I have some my regular members there, and if you are new, good evening. Thank you, Ida. All right, and give me a thumbs up if you think this value stock talk trade idea will help you to understand where they are. Let me know. Pencil those in there, because I think that so far our products, the VSA 360 as well as our SmartRobie, able to help many of you in here. Thank you for your support, Nora. All right, and good evening, Tan. All right, good evening. So I think that's the essence of it in here. But very importantly, let me just remind the members and the public in here, we are still in started. Remember, we still have the spring solstice. I think just happened 2 days ago. Called I think the Yanyat, they call it, where you can align the legs, the eggs on the floor that can stand up on. Okay, so just I think that was yesterday or 2 days ago, and we are officially in the year of dragon for 2024. Keep in mind, for the year of dragon, right, it is a bullish year. Okay, it is a bullish year. Of course, the whole year is not going to go up in a straight line. There will be in a pullback, they're going to be up, but if you have followed me in 2022, 2023, even 20 or 2019, which I've been in this talk for some time already, right? And I don't get it right all the time, but if I do get it right, and I hope that you all have some sort of a protection, some sort of risk management in there, and to protect yourself from for even last year, 2023, was a very good year for myself and also for my clients. Some of them who have been helping them too, they've done pretty well, but year 2022 was a pretty bad year. So I told many of them to hold on to it, but eventually they kind of come back in and recover some of it. As I said before, 2024 will be very, very similar to 2020. Check out why I'm bullish for 2024. Look at some of my live Facebook talk that I did on Wednesday night session. But tonight we'll be focusing on the value shares as well as some of the rally that we've seen in 2024, which is still ongoing right now. Okay, so closing remark for 2023, 29th of December. Right now, I think we are in 15 something, right? 1518, 1520, around that range, holding above 1500. So which is good. As you can see, the low end part figure is 1545, which is a 6%. And right now we are almost 4% already, which I'm going to share with you in here. High side, CGS has a CI at 1755, which is about 20% return. 20% is almost half of what Japan did in 2023. Now, unless we have a huge flow, good evening, Nora. Welcome. Unless we have a huge flow of foreign funds coming in, then potentially we'll see a double-digit figure. I think around 1540 is very, very optimistic already, this figure in here. Now, let's take a look at our seasonality. Okay, and we will log into our VSA 360. Okay, and this is where many of you who are a member would know about this. So you can see that right now the market is at 1530, just short of 1530 in here. And we can see foreign funds also continue to come in strongly yesterday. You can see that, which is about 189 million. So that's pretty good. 4 days in a row, they've been pretty strong in here. And this is what I want to talk about, is the seasonality. Now, if you are not a member yet of our VSA 360, you might want to consider joining our VSA 360. Many benefits, and as well as those of our member who participate in our live training as well, our monthly session, has done exceptionally well through our virtual trading, to what we call the supervised coaching, and since October some of them already achieved double-digit return by trading here. So right now we can see from the KLCI, one of these partly is because the tools that we have and the constant tutorial and live training, we make sure that our members don't fall into the wrong trap, right? So if you are struggling in 2023, not making money when the market was good, maybe you want to consider joining our VSA 360 for that matter, to brush up your trading skills and going forward. So you can see from here, we have 4%. Okay, the market total return was up at 4%, which is the past 4 years we've been negative. So touch wood, so far for the month of January is one of the best months. As you can see, the last time we had it was 2018, which is a pickup from 2016. And partly one of these reasons is also on the so-called end of the restriction COVID. So markets reopening, China inbound tourists coming in. Okay, so some of the recovery, and more importantly, which I talked about in some of the previous thing, is the return of our construction project, the big mega projects, the HSR, ECR, which I've been talking, and also even NVIDIA coming in helping the utilities in here. So that has sort of pushed. So we are very early in the beginning of the year. We still got like 10 to 12 months more, and this is something, the monthly seasonal, which I will show many times, because by following this you are able to know and navigate where are all the opportunities and where you can try to avoid the so-called trap too. Now next we want to look at is the KLCI here. As you can see, the KLCI, let me just blow this up again. and make it a bit smaller. So you can see from here, next slide. Yep, okay. For this one here, the KLSE, what are we seeing now? Okay, so we are seeing right now, let me just put it here. So what we are seeing now, right now, we have a reaccumulation. So what we want to look for is we are still in the beginning of a stage 2. I do not think our market will break down given what we have seen so far. Our market's holding up, and just now we also see, right, just now the foreign funds are continue to buy. So this is a nice mild pullback that we see, but breaking that 1520 need to take time. The support right now is 1500, intermediate support is 1500. So we like to see SOS more likely to happen after Chinese New Year, which the KLCI will be closed on Monday, and then I think Tuesday will be up. I think maybe we'll see a little bit of action as the KLCI will play catch up to the overall market, because we still have the US market moving up, right? Isn't it? Okay, so that's where we are in terms of it. Now I can see before the Bursa inflows, which I'm going to share with you here. Go back, and through this you can see, so the Bursa inflow is healthy. Now this was last week, which I shared with you from the VSA 360. Now this week you can see we have two, right? This was 96 million, and then come back 186, 189 million. So foreign funds are coming in here, and I do hope that some of you have already, acquainted with it and are looking at some value stocks. If you are looking for value stocks, definitely you'll be at the right place this evening. Now let's talk about the value stock investing philosophy. At the end of the day, we are trying to buy something which is cheap, isn't it, right? Which is cheap in here. Now stock price will fluctuate between high value and low value in here, and there's this thing what we call stock intrinsic value. Now SmartRobie has this feature in there, and if you go in, look under stock fundamentals, okay, there is intrinsic value in it. But generally what I evaluate, if you can find a stock that has a low PE, right, usually low PE, right, and then you are able to find stocks that is undervalued. The philosophy behind it, look for low PE, okay, because things that is already running very popular, a growth share, the PE won't be cheap. Okay, PE means also referring to the price over earnings. So how are you able to? Yeah. Good evening, Tengku. Good evening. All right. So this is what we talk about, the intrinsic value. You want to find something that is cheap, but because it's cheap, generally in the Malaysian market, they don't move. Later on, I'll share with you some of the value stocks that I picked for our weekly member podcast. Now, if you are not a member yet, I highly recommend you to consider finding out more about VSA 360 members session in here. So from our overvalue in here, this is where you want to sell. But then again, we also know the philosophy we have seen. Things that is overvalued, like what we see in the US, like the Magnificent 7 stocks, they'll tend to be overvalued, but because of the growth, more people are willing to pay higher prices for that. As such, the stock continue to be overpriced sometime, but that's where the gain is, because you can buy low and then sell high. But notice, right, the philosophy between value stock investing purposes is finding cheap stocks. Okay, now of course with the value investing stock, there are growth stock and value, right? Let me just sort of give you a little bit of a background where we are coming from. Okay, now this is where growth stock perform very, very well. Okay, in 2022, it actually lags. The value was performing better, slightly better already. So if you look at this overall, right, if you go back to before 2000, value stock tend to dominate. But after 2000, right, and remember, we know when was the financial crisis? 2008, right, where the interest rate regime comes in. Interest rate control. Okay, interest rate control is a tool where they do quantitative easing and quantitative easing or quantitative tightening, play around with the interest rate. So you'll notice a lot of the big tech firm were performing much better on lower interest rate. So again, going forward, Right now, the interest rate is high, right? And yet, some people are confused. Why is the tech stocks doing well when it's high? Because of expectation. Okay, expectation. Now, going to 2023, which I also talk about on many of our sessions in here. Check out some of the old one. I'm not going to cover in here. Kevin is still talking about A-Health. Yeah, your Kevin, he's always come to the our live Facebook with this stock, Apex Health, and I told him since it's a long-term stock, you can just hold on to it. But also very important is to look at other opportunities. Look at other opportunities in here, right? Because that's why we want to gain more knowledge, isn't it? By gaining more knowledge, we are able to extend, our capability, looking into different markets. That's what I want to talk about, the growth and value stocks. So you look at the 5-year rolling in here. Growth stocks outperform. Now, what are the growth stocks are usually referred to though? Tech stocks. Okay, these are the tech stocks and they will definitely perform much better than the value. Now, when you talk about the value stocks, generally they are the traditional one, the finance, like the energy stocks and the consumer. Okay, these are considered as a traditional so default. The growth are those can grow, because how much can you grow from consumer? Unless you, especially right now, we are seeing a slowdown in China too. Okay, so which one is better, growth or value? Anyone care to answer that? Which one is better? Growth of value investing. Now, of course, both have good, this from Motley Fool in here. If you are interested in big stock price movement, which everybody does, then growth investing is interesting. But you must have plenty of time. You got to pick winner for emerging markets. Definitely right now, the emerging markets here is the tech stocks and the generative AI, right? Which I think some of you may have already, I've talked about this in the past thing. Check out the YouTube channel that we have in here. Then value investing is what we want to look for. Current income, correct, right? What is current income? Dividend yield. Later on, I'm going to give you a list. Very important. You all make sure you take your handphone and snapshot that list there. This is one of the big value, but just watch until the end of this presentation. I'll give you some of the value stock for the KLSE. And you're confident you can avoid value trap. Now, value trap, generally from a mathematical standpoint, these are what we talk about. Very low PE, low price earning. Okay, and generally they're below about 8 times PE. Right? Why are they low? Because there could be something wrong with the company. That's why they're so low. That's why they call it a trap. Right? And one immediate payoff from your investment, not necessarily the case from my experience. Okay, let's talk about value investing in here. These are generally what I talk about just now. The industry, energy, financial, healthcare industry. The growth stocks comes from technology, communication, and consumer discretionary. Here, tech, generative AI falls under this line here. Okay, so this is where you are. So keep in mind when you talk about the industry. That's what I want to talk about this slide. Now, based on a more recent report, you can see going back to 2014, right? As I said before, growth stocks. Now, this is important, right? When you pick any stocks, if you are investing for a longer term, okay, for a longer term in here, right? This is why you need to know your stocks, growth of value. All right, let me test out the member here. Amazon, growth or value stocks? Type out the answer there. Okay. Nvidia, growth or value stock? Right. Apple, growth or value stock? Just type out the answer there. Definitely you will know what I'm talking about in here. So all things being equal, growth stock has greatly outperformed value stocks. Right. So then you want to ask the question, why would I buy value stocks? Okay, why would I buy value stock? Again, this is something I've talked about last week, part and parcel of diversification. You can have a strong, higher weightage for the growth stock, but you still need to have some value stocks for that matter, right? So right now, as of 2023, and I think going forward to even to 2024, I think with the interest rate likely to come down, okay, we will see growth stock outpacing the value stock based on some of the reasons I've talked about in here. Now here is as a Magnificent 7, these are what we talk about the growth stock, which has done pretty well, right? You know, in Malaysia, some of our stocks has gone up 400%, 200%. Those are not growth stock. Those are goreng stock. The penny stocks. Those are really goreng. So you can see from here the Magnificent 7, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, and Apple. Those are really have grown more. The question some of you may ask, can it still grow for 2024? The short answer is yes, it can still grow for 2024. So if you do have them, check out the SmartRobie apps. At least you can do some sort of timing through there, through our SmartRobie apps there, and that will certainly help you a great deal or more. All right. So then let's talk about the more on the growth and value stocks, where you want to be buying growth stock fair to slightly overvalue, right? But if you want to buying value, you must buy undervalued stocks. Okay, intrinsic value means the value of the company plus the tangible cash, whatever that goes into the current income, right? Less the liability, right? There's a way to calculate that, but we have a method to calculate. So check out the SmartRobie apps under the stock fundamental tab menu and look for that YouTube, which I talk about how to calculate intrinsic value in here. All right. So for value, we focus on dividend. Here we focus on capital gain. Okay. Of course, if you are generally older in nature in terms of your profile, like you want to have some stability, you might want to go for dividend stock rather than capital gain, because capital gain, like growth stock, it has ups and downs. Now, this is definitely what I'm talking about. If you look at here, Cathy Wood, we all know her for the famous ARK, right? And her bet on Tesla and Bitcoin. Now, she was a darling back in 20 to 21 because we have a meteoric rise of Bitcoin and Tesla, right? But since Bitcoin came down, Tesla came down, also come down, right? So this is why we talk about growth stock. It's versus Bitcoin is a different question altogether. It's not really a growth stock. It's can be partly smart money manipulation, partly the prospect of the future, and right now we also have many of the Bitcoin been moving into the mainstream. You heard about the Bitcoin being approved as an ETF products. So many people would thought that, hey, Bitcoin being approved as ETF, that would means the stock price, the Bitcoin would go up, and instead it came down. Now, why is that? If you look at the intention of the stock price movement, there are manipulation in what I've just said there. Whereas if you look at Berkshire Hathaway, right, from 2018, still steady, right? And that's why going on that philosophy, you need to have a little bit of both, right? Value and growth, right? If you have these two, your portfolio will do much better. Again, all depends on the strategy. Now, this is why in our monthly session, which I talk about in here, where we have a trading strategy as well as an investing strategy, how you can put that into good use can help you in 2024. Something that you want to consider if you want to have a supervised coaching and mentoring using our VSA 360 tools inside there. That's a number scrolling right below you. You can check out more and find out more about that. So for those of you who is looking for growth undervalued stock, here is the formula, right? The formula is look for high PE, but not too high. All right. You want to look for earning growth, and sometimes they don't have dividend, right? But in Malaysia stock, you can also get growth stock that pay dividend too, right? Very interesting, isn't it? You can find that in here. So if you're just looking at value stock, you can look for low PE, right? So if you're looking for growth, okay, undervalued stocks, right, you have to look for stocks that is in the growth sector, which I talked about just now, right? Remember technology, apa lagi? Communication, right? What else? Generative AI, right? That has reasonable PE, not too low, okay? And also pay dividend. That's the best thing about it. So you still need to pick and choose from there. So pay attention to all the fundamental metrics that you're getting, and then from then onwards you're able to work out which is a good stocks. So here is an example back in 2022, just to share with you in here. So these are what we call undervalued growth stock with wide economic moat. That is a very common terminology used by Warren Buffett. You say that they have a sustainable competitive advantage. Yeah, that's what it means. For those of you who like economics in there, because they're able to hold on to it. So right now you can see Amazon, Adobe, Microsoft, right? These Salesforce, very strong also, right? You see price to fair value in here. Now remember, these are in 2022, but since then the price has gone up a lot more, right? So that's why we are looking at. First, you have to look for a growth sector, then do the analysis going into the PE ratio. All right, PE ratio. So that's one way to look at it in here. So let's take a look now at our KLSE market, right, for these stocks, okay? Because anyway, it's the Chinese New Year rally, so we want to be looking into some of these stocks. Now, every Friday, right, I will do a weekly podcast. So that's really one of the benefits of being a member of our VSA 360. So if you are not, again, consider that. That's also one of the wishes that we do. Many of the members who come tonight, they sort of follow up the macroeconomics that I talk about in here, because I have more time, a little bit more general. But in our specific Monday live training, that's where we are going to all the tools, how to do it, and then our monthly orientation, we look at the progress of our member who does the virtual trading in here. If you have not in, do check it out. This VSA 360 that we have, right? So on every week issue, we talk about one specific long-term undervalued shares. And how did we come up with it is every week. So we started our weekly podcast. The first episode was on 10th of November. Now this is where you can take a photo of it, right? So we were already talking about some of these stocks. So you can see from here the prices. Some are $3. SK Press 82 cents, MYEG 80 cents, Wellcore 164, KM Long 197. Okay, Uchitech is in the tech sector. This is in the industry. This one is also in the tech consumer a little bit of consumer. This is also industry. This one is palm oil. Okay, CPO. Lihan is I think is industry. Okay, Yinsun is oil and gas. This one is consumer, right? It came out twice. Tasco is logistic, and this one is industry also. Now keep in mind there are two Taiwanese based company here. Okay, I think you know them, right? Uchitech is Taiwanese. Okay, and also FPI stand for Formosa Prosonic Industry. Okay, so these are the two. Later on I'll talk about in details what they actually do in here, but these are the stocks which I was already given out to the members way back on the date that here. We started with Uchitech 10th of November, which is about maybe 1.5 months, 2 months already, right? And going out to, we also look at the prices. How far has the prices moved? Did it go up? Did it go down since this stock trade idea will pass out to them? So let's take a look at first one. When Uchitech came out on long term, right? Actually, some of these stocks actually came from SmartRobie. So check out the SmartRobie apps. You have not downloaded in here. All right. So 10th of November, Uchitech, we have a green pentagon in here. Okay. And on the 17th, SK Press has fell a lot, also as a green pentagon. So that's where we pick at. This could be, remember last week we talked about the advanced setup pattern. The reversal pattern. We are looking for a reversal pattern. Then SK Press. Then we have MYEG on the 24th of November. Turn green pentagon here. Have a nice base in here. All right. Then we also have Wellcore. All right. So Wellcore turn green pentagon. We pick most of the stocks when the market turn green pentagon. Okay. So that's how we decide when it did. So if you are a regular member in our thing, you will probably know how I picked these stocks and how they were presented to you. So Wellcore, then we have KLSE, right? Green Pentagon here, okay, on 8th of December. Next one we have is Wellcore again. We have Lihan, which is a furniture maker, also on Green Pentagon at 94 cents. Right, the last overhead high is 0.98. You have two double bottom in here. Let's see the market if we can go up some more here, right? And then we have the Yinsun, which also comes out on our list on the 5th of January, and on the 12th of January we selected Heineken because we select this every Friday, okay, every Friday. So take note of it, some of these stocks. So then we go on to 12th of January, Heineken, and then we pick Uchitech again, okay, on the 19th of December because they had a Green Pentagon, so we pick this again. Uchitech on 19th, and then on the 26th of January we pick Tasco. Tasco has a big move in here, and generally if you have a climatic volume, stocks will come back in, all right? But it came down from a very low. And last but not least is the Prosonic Industry. Now this is the next slide, is very important. Get ready your camera or you can screenshot of this slide that I have, okay? FBI. Now if you look from here, I'm going to just move slightly to it and try to explain through what has happened in this stock, okay, why it was picked up in here. So you can see from here, Uchitech was very, most of this, if you look at it, our PE for our Malaysia is generally about PE is about 12 to 13 times, okay? The lower the PE is better, right? As I said before. So you can see from here, we started, the lowest was around 8.3 for FBI, right? 8.6, 9.1 for Yinsun. The highest is Heineken, because Heineken, people are drinking, right? So prices go. So you can see from here, the index, the KLSE index, okay, falls under around 12 to 13, right? So you want to be around that and don't overpay. So the next column here, more important, is the return on equity. Return on equity is like how much kind of return you have. You generally want to look for something with a double-digit return. So you can see from here, all these are returning very good, like Uchitech, 65% return. SK Press, almost 12. MYEG, almost 20%. Wellcore, 40%. Then I'm going to go on the remarks here and talk about it later. Then KLSE, about 18.4%. Now remember, these are the stocks that I've given to a member much earlier during our weekly video podcast, which I'll send out. Lihan, about 11.68% in here. Yinsun is 14.6%. And Heineken, with a PE of almost 20 times, you can see it is giving a return of 100 times. Basically, it's almost cash rich. They have a lot of cash. All right, all they do is turn water and barley into beer and sell it. Especially right now, Chinese New Year, a lot more people are drinking too. I think Uchitech came out again. Tasco is one of the lowest expense rate for the logistics company, 10.9% and 18. Now, here is the trick. Remember, I talk about the SmartRobie, right? If you have the SmartRobie apps, mobile apps, use the rating, anything that is 4, 5, 8, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5. These are very strong. You'll ultimately pick for you already, right? The highest is 8. Okay, the lowest is actually 0. So 0, sometimes we call it as not available. Okay, from 0 to 8. So you can see from here, all these stocks that goes into this list usually fall between 4 or 5. Okay, can understand? You can understand? Give me a thumbs up if you like this list here, because this is why it's important to talk about here, the value stock, since I'm talking about. Now the next thing is really the bonus. Okay, the bonus in here is the dividend. All right, one of the things, especially if you are looking for dividend, what I talk about, the growth stock and the value stocks here, dividend play an important part while you can get the what we call the capital gain. Example, you look at Uchitech, which actually falls under the technology segment. When we first talked about it, was 349 and 380. It's gone up by 11.5%, giving it a 7% dividend. And this is what I talk about, the undervalue growth stock. The PE is only 13 times. See that? 13 times with a dividend of 7%. How much the bank is paying the dividend right now? You want to guess? 2-3%? And with Uchitech giving you a 7% return. And third quarter net profit was up 30%. So that makes it one of the best stocks with the ROE of 65. All right. SK Press, you can see didn't fare so well. Let me just get the eraser first. Mana eraser saya? Okay. Go back and get my pen. So you can see from here, the first quarter FY 2024 dropped 42%. But got hope lah. They got new capacity expansion for SK Press. They make industrial. They used to make Dyson and some of the plastic kind of thing over here. But from the date that we talk about it, and it actually dropped 14%. That is the worst performer. The rest are pretty okay, you know, since we started this, right? But you can see it gives the 6% support lah, the 6% support. Right now is 71 cents. Check out the SmartRobie in here. Then next we have is MYEG. When we picked up time, it was 80.5 cents. Now it's 78, just down of 2.5%. Dividend is less. I suppose the owner still wants it to, you know, pump back to the company to grow. This is considered one of the lowest, as well as Yinsun. The rest are paying 4.790%. All right. So positive news about MYEG is the Malaysia government service renewal. They did get it, and also the Zentrax digital ID and driving license in China. Not really sure that, you know, if they don't have a Chinese partner or influence, very difficult to get this up in the ground. But it's nice. It's a good try in here, knowing that they are out of favor for more projects in Malaysia. Wellcore is rubber hose. You know, when you go and to your BP station, BHP station, your Exxon, not your Exxon, Malaysia don't have Exxon lah. This one, Exxon Mobil. The rubber hose, right? The rubber hose. That's the one that they use a lot, okay, in petrol and pumping. So Wellcore, since we talked about it in 1st of December, it's been up 6.7%. And guess what? You still have a dividend of 4.7% on top of that one. So nice gain, yeah? Okay, Kim Long play into the palm oil plantation, right? With the ROE of 18.4. Here, my God, look at that, 7%. Right, a good way to diversify out, right? 7% in here with a 7% gain since I talked about it from 8th of December. So make sure you find out why you should be a member of our VSA 316 here. So they also put in a press clipping. They expect 15% growth in their fruit batch production, which means they can produce more growth. One of the reasons is benefiting right now. CPO prices is about 3,009. Analyst is predicting the CPO between 3,005 to 4,002 range for year 2024. Okay, for year 2024. So if it's heading higher with the 15% growth, more money lah. Right, and top of that, you still get that 7% dividend yield. On 14th of December, we have Lihan, I think it pronounced Lihan, right? They are home-based furniture maker in JB. Okay, so you can see dividend yield also 5.9%, rated 4, right? But soft demand from China lah, and also domestically they sell some of these furniture that you use in office in here, Lihan, and they do export a lot in US market. Hopefully we get a spur in the US market, then we get more. Yinsun is a oil and gas player, and I think recent with the they have diversified away from their traditional business. All right, so no gain, still pretty much the same. Doesn't pay a lot of dividend, but they are going to the climate change industry, solar power. Okay, they actually bought a solar company and use that solar company to bid on it, because they got tons of cash, so they're looking to diversify. My take is Peru is very far away lah. Time zone also Suma pun quite different already. Alright, then we have the Heineken. Okay, very popular right now in Chinese New Year. You can see up 4%. So this is really a darling. You buy these kind of stocks. Pay good dividend, very solid rating at rated SmartRobie at 5. Right, more profit stashed away because they were expecting a prosperity tax. You know, we know that the Mandarin government don't have much money, so they want a tax. But we all know Malaysia beer tax, alcohol tax is one of the highest in ASEAN. Anywhere you go, you will find out, hey, beer is cheaper than water. All right. So Chinese New Year 2024, hopefully to get a bit more sales. China inbound tourists coming to Malaysia will definitely help the sales of the alcoholic beverages for Heineken. And of course, for our Muslim friend, ini bukan halal, these are haram. Alright, Uchitech, I think I'll talk about it. Tasco is a logistic. Okay, Tasco also, since we talk about it, Tasco was a big move. They came from a very low base. Right now around 80 cents, very low base. Pay also a decent dividend, 4%. If you want to have exposure on logistic, this is the one. And they're looking to expansion, okay? Expansion to improve margin. Again, economic recovery right now with the GDP, Malaysia, I think 3 to 4% for 2024, right? Tasco will definitely benefit from it. Now, last but not least, FPI, Formosa Prosonic Industry. They make speakers. I just wonder whether they make the Google speakers or the Amazon speakers, the Alexa one. Because I went to the website and checked, they look very alike, but they didn't put exactly, right? So from the time which I only last week we talked about this as a trade idea, 0.7 here, right? 0.7% gone up slightly. They sold a business for 32 million in 2023, and that's why the stock price actually move up. Okay, they move up in here. Home speakers, especially home speakers and also car speakers. I'm sure some of the latest Proton car, Geely one, all come from FPI, Formosa Prosonic, right? They only do speakers only. Surprisingly, they've been around for some time now. All right, but more importantly is they're able to maintain the 7% dividend. All right, so if you are a dividend lover and you come to a point where you have allocated some dividend, some growth stocks, this would definitely give you some sort of idea that would help you in creating that value shares that I think, of course, ongoing every week I will have one new stock trade idea in terms of the long term, and this will definitely help our members. So for our members who's watching it, if you haven't been tuning into the weekly member podcast every Friday that I send out to you to the WhatsApp, check it out. Okay, so this is how I want to do a review of some of the stocks that I pick up in here. And of course, if you're not a VSA 360 member, no problem. Thank you for your support, and also thank you for coming tonight. You can use SmartRobie apps under the Robie FA stock list and pick up some of this. Okay, so that's probably all I have for tonight. This one I already done last week. Okay, so I'm just going to skip it and keep it short, right, as we are coming to the beginning of the year of the dragon for 2024, right? The Chinese New Year rally is here, and I think it will still go on further, right? If you notice, many of the years the Chinese New Year fall within the same date, never it rally, but 2024 is going to be a different year altogether, right? So check it out. As I said before, started to rally. And for those of you who are considering becoming a member of VSA 360, it is a private supervised training. And check out that video on the thing, or go to our website when you see this chart. Why do our members outperforming the average trader and investor? If you are a struggling trader, struggling investor, and like a bit more supervised from myself here and some of our team members, check out this video that we have for you in here. Like our members, some of our good members through our virtual training, getting a 16%. Now this has improved even more, right? Some of our members has since September, when we're doing our virtual trade, is up almost 30%, right? Mayfun is still there, right? So those of you who are watching tonight and thinking about becoming a 2024 members, I think that's okay. Diversification is important, right? It makes more sense what we talk about, considering the growth and the value stock. And I do hope tonight I have shared with you something that will be beneficial, that you can understand between the value as well as the growth in here. And more importantly is the educational message that I have for my members and those for you in here. Learning, it's important. Using the tools, just like a fishing rod, that way you can feed yourself for life. I have learned this very, very early in my life, and I don't really dependent on it. The stock market has been a great source of wealth building for myself and for my family. I'm very, very beneficial, as I also share with my my children. You always have to start early in the stock market, especially those of you who are senior. Get your children to start early in the investment of stock market, whether it is trading or investing, and you will know that this market will fit them. As we all know before, many things are getting more expensive, and even current employment income is not guaranteed. But the knowledge that you have, the tools that you learn, will be with you forever. All right. So also join me on the breakfast show. I'll be away, and we're going to come back until next week. So that's all we have. And for those of you who are looking to look into the US market in here, we also do the SmartRobie. Use the sign up code NYVJPA and do that. So all right. So that's all we have for tonight. And the stock list that we were talking about just now, make sure you snapshot it. If not, you can watch this video again on live Facebook or YouTube and pick up those stocks which will benefit you. I can tell you they pay more than the bank's fixed deposit, and very little risk, and you can also broaden your wealth in here. So that's all. Good night. Thank you. Happy Chinese New Year. 恭喜發財 to all. I'll see you later next week. For our members, join us on Tuesday for our monthly orientation. And of course, those of you who are first time here or many times coming in, you might want to consider our VSA 360 membership. Thank you and good night.